Welcome, everybody. It's Tuesday night and time for another Knox Makers show and share. We do this every Tuesday to show what we're working on, what we've made, what our failures are, so we can learn from those. And we just generally have a really good time here. So let's just get started. First off, Jennifer is here. Going to show us a sculpture process. Haven't seen Jennifer in a while. I'm glad you're here. Where is she? There she is.
So, some of you may know me from last year. I had an octopus that I was working on, and the clay that I was working on was, the manufacturer went out of business. So that sculpture you won't see probably again. I might get back to it. The clay is a lighter gray than this, but it kind of bugs me, rubs me the wrong way as an artist to mix clay. This is, so after the octopus, I went to stone. And when I started working on stone, I ordered some stone, and this one came in, and it had this bend in it and these 2 points. And it immediately said horse to me. And so I started cutting on it and started building on the clay at the same time. And so the process was cutting back on this and adding to this at the same time. And when the ears got too wide on the clay for the stone, I almost said, scrap it and stop. But then I decided, no, keep going. And I'm kind of glad I did, because it actually came out kind of cool. My husband and I are volunteering for a horse therapy facility called STAR, and it's going to be a donation piece. So this is on deadline. I need to finish it. So I have all the pieces, but I need to do the final woodworking cuts to put the holes so that I can do final assembly. So that's where I'm at. And I never really meant to finish this, so I'm not really sure what to do with it. If I want to do like a mold to do castings with. So if anyone has any other ideas as to where to go with this.
I have a question.
Yes.
You say how do you cut that stone to get it polished? What's that?
I got the stone cutting tools, so chisels and a hammer, and started with chisels and a hammer, and rasps, so big, huge files. And so this is like a 1.5 to a 2.3 on the scale of softness. So it's kind of soft. So diamond is a 10, and so this is really low. So it files really easily. It chips really easily. When I brought the other 2 pieces in, the octopus apparently got dropped, and one of the points that got broke off. I modified it, so it now has a little curled front foot instead of a point. So next time I bring it in to show and share, you guys will see how it got edited. So no big deal. All right, any other questions? Yes.
I don't remember what kind of clay you use again.
It's a plastilina.
It's not fired.
It's not fired. It never gets hard. You can keep working it, and at high temperatures, it melts. So when you make a mold, you get to a high temperature, it melts out and leaves a negative space. So you can either cast in resin or you can cast in metal.
Can it be painted or glazed?
No. Any other questions? No. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. I'm always excited to see your stuff. It's always so cool. Okay, next. We have Walter with a plastic belt.
Hello. It's been a while. I haven't shown you guys anything that I've been playing around with plastic for a while, so I hope you will indulge me. I like using plastic that otherwise wouldn't be recycled and trying to make things out of it. This is 5 plastic bags folded once, so it's roughly 20 layers. The reason why I have this as a reference is I didn't keep as good of track with the thing that I'm going to show next, so this is going to go around with the belt so that hopefully you guys can have a feel and have an idea of what it feels like. I was going in my closet and I was like, oh wow, I've got this belt, but I'm too fat. But the hardware still works. And so I was hoping maybe I could try and take this material and just make a long, thick enough strip that would act as a belt. And this isn't doing it much, but this is gonna pass around and you can feel it. And it works. It's only got the one hole because I just put the one hole in that I needed. And it's ugly as sin. My wife says, you're not allowed to wear that around me, but that's fine. Because at the end of the day, it just needs to hold my pants up. And it looks like it'll do that, and I'm glad I've finally found something useful I can do with this material. That's all I got, unless there's any questions.
You heat and press the bags, right?
Yes, the process. The process is I'm using a iron at this point, cranking it all the way up to where it wants to be for wool, and then you put a layer of wax paper in between the plastic and the iron, and that lets you heat it up. You can get some big, thick chunks of plastic done this way. The problem is the thicker it is, the harder it is to work with. The other nice thing, working this, it was almost like working a piece of leather, except when I screwed up and I cut something I wasn't supposed to, I could just like stick more plastic on it, and so that was really cool. It's a really forgiving material to work with, but at the same time, when it was the exact size it needed to be, and I was like, okay, let me try and make it a little bit prettier, and then it broke in two, and so I had to glue it back together, but at that point it was smaller, and so it took me longer than it should have to get it to where it is, but it was a fun little project. I knocked this out this afternoon. Yeah.
Do you have any troubles with the flexibility of the plastic?
So it depends on what the application is. Getting a flat sheet of this stuff, I haven't had a lot of success. And if I wanted to wait and put it under more pressure, I could probably get that. Here, I actually kind of want it to be flexible because it's a belt, and so that's a benefit. I will say the thicker it is, the more rigid it becomes. But it really depends on what the application is. Sometimes I want it to be flexible, other times I don't. Anyone else? All right, I'm gonna pass this around then.
Thank you, Walter. Please don't let your pants fall down until you get your belt back. Next. Oh, Dan has some wooden turned items. Can't wait to see this. Where's Dan? There he is.
Hi, everybody. So Saturday, I finally got to get back in here after not being able to get in for about a month or so. And I wanted to get some practice in for the lightsaber hilt challenge and everything. So the first thing I did is I put a piece of walnut on, and I just kind of experimented with that, just seeing what I could do. This is smaller than what my actual hilt will be. But I didn't do any cleaning up on it. I just wanted to get some experience with some new tools that I was able to get and everything. So I had some fun with that. And you know how people always say, oh, what I listen to doesn't really affect me, but I find that it does me. Next thing I put on was some Bolivian Blackheart. how do I zoom out? Oh, there we go. Yeah, so, which looks like that. It's about like ebony, if you've not felt black heart yet. It's heavy wood, very dense. Listening to UT baseball game, so I made a bat. Not a big one, because it wasn't a big piece of wood, but it was fun to turn a bat while I was listening. And then I put on a piece of African mahogany, because I hadn't turned that yet, and wanted to do that. And my dad turned wood a lot several years ago, and one of the things he would always do is, Neil, you called it the ring? What did you call it? A captured ring. He would do those on things, and I was like, I need to learn how to do that. And I've tried doing that several times, and it would always break on me. And I thought, okay, this piece of mahogany is big enough. I should be able to do it, and I accomplished it. So I was pretty excited. Yeah, and yep, the ring turns and everything. I did put a little bit of finish on this and sanded it. I didn't do anything on the baseball bat. So you'll feel how smooth that is with just a little. I did a little bit of sanding, but not much. So anyway, I'm going to pass these around. I won't pass this around because it's pretty rough, and I don't want anybody to get splinters. But this stuff won't give you splinters. Any questions?
How long did it take you to do that captured ring?
The captured ring, I would guess, probably from the rough to including the finish time, it was probably about an hour and a half. I did that mostly with a spindle gouge, and then a round nose scraper, and the final releasing it was with a detail gouge, a carbide tip detail.
Was the inside of the ring rough when it finally came loose? Was you able to work on that? Or?
Because of the way I was using the spindle gouge working on it, it was almost like hitting it with a scraper. It's pretty smooth. The sanding, when I was sanding it, I'd already released the ring, so you really can't sand at that point, because as soon as the sandpaper touches it, it stops spinning. Yeah, I was like, okay, remember next time I do that, if I'm going to sand it before I release it. But it's still pretty smooth. The outside was a little rougher than the inside because of the way the tooling was on that. But it was a lot of fun. Yes.
We can sand it after it's what it's just wrap a piece of sandpaper around it. In case it's still spinning.
Oh, okay.
Hold the ring steady.
Ah, I didn't think of that. See, still learning. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, that's it.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
That is some super cool stuff. Okay, I don't understand this. Next is our very own Brian Greenhoe. We know he made a child, but on the sheet it says, "What are you showing?" and he's showing Russell. So I think he's not showing me, but I think he's showing me up, maybe. I don't know. Like, I'm gonna show him kind of thing.
Felt like it would be wrong to say I made a lamp, because I feel like there's only one lamp maker out here. So I got this thing like maybe 6 years ago now. Where do we plug in? Let's plug somewhere on this thing, right? Did I cover it up? Anyways, this was a trash find from one of my friends up in Detroit. They know I like mid-century modern stuff, so they gave it to me because I was redoing a house at the time, and I've since then redone 3 more houses and never had a place where this particular chandelier fit, because it was either too large, too small. So I haven't been able to be in the shop very much lately because my boss here keeps me grounded. So I figured this was like a thing I could redo at my house. So I didn't want to make it so I could never turn it back into a chandelier, so I've modified it in a way where I can just kind of like unbolt everything I put on it and flip it back over. But I had to rewire it, and I think that's why I got thrown out in the first place. All these, like, basically terminus into this little ball here in the center. There was 13 wire nuts inside that thing. And so Sputnik, so this is a Sputnik lamp, or a Sputnik styled fixture. Sputnik went up in what, I think 57. I tried to find anything I could on this. I found one thing on Etsy that looked very similar, but it wasn't exactly right. There's actually a patent date on the bottom of it, so I'm like, that should probably tell me. So it's an A-date patent, which means it was filed in the United States, and the patent was granted, except for the patent wasn't real. It was just a made-up thing that they put it on the bottom of it. So I don't know. I'm not sure, but it was pretty old, and those wire nuts had lasted some period of time, but I didn't figure any point of, like, you know, having to redo them later. So I ended up soldering all of them, and in an attempt to save time and not have to remove every one of these arms, I tried to use the wires that were currently in there. And so I had to do all of my soldering connections inside that bulb because I couldn't pull them out far enough to actually get at them. So I'm not blind, but I think I took a couple years off. So at any rate, put some LEDs on it. Russell helped me out with locating some cool cordage and also a dimmer switch. So let's turn this thing on. There we go. So this thing came, the switches are kind of like a challenging thing. They all kind of look the same and they all look equally terrible. This one claimed that it came with a brass knob. So I don't know if you can see that. That doesn't show up at all. I can tell you with certainty that that is closer to a pop bottle cap than brass. So that couldn't go, so I turned up a brass cap for it and just hot melt glued that thing on. So we'll see how long it lasts, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. If I do it again, I would have gotten a lower wattage switch. Just the sensitivity on this is pretty poor based on the lighting I ended up putting on it. So, but you know, future self. Yeah. It's like almost done with the exception, the bottom still looks like a total hack job. I'm gonna put a piece of leather across the bottom and adhesive that on. The only thing I really had to make for it was the knob and then the base. The base is just a piece of walnut. It was a piece of firewood sitting behind my house, so I came in and turned that real quick. Wet lumber turns really nice, and if you turn it relatively thin enough, you don't have to worry about it cracking later. So it should be good, and if it's not, then it's just a piece of firewood, and it'll still be a piece of firewood. Just make another one. Yeah.
You know a guy that can make them, right?
I know a guy, yeah. There's a whole bunch more walnut firewood where that come from, so. Yeah, any questions? Cool, thanks.
Okay, Brian's making lamps. I'm gonna have to start making wooden things. We'll see about that. Okay, last but not least, John Dale has a laser stamp.
So I've been playing with the fiber laser, and I've been wanting to make metal stamps. People make their maker stamps to put on their things. And so I got some, I borrowed a piece of steel off of Andrew out of the blacksmithing and took it home. And so with this small a diameter and the really high carbon steel, I guess it is, or mild steel, this takes about 30 minutes on the fiber laser. As you can see, I didn't get my circle. Zoom in, yes, okay. Yeah. So Knox Makers logo in the top of a piece of round bar. As you can see, I didn't get my circle big enough to get the entire top of the bar, so I took a file to it, and then you can see it stamps into some wood. Maybe you can see that. Yeah. So just a little hammer into the wood. So I got some much bigger bar, 40 millimeters, which is what, about 1.5 inches. And this took about 30 minutes. When I started doing this took like 3 to 4 hours. And so, this is, what is the name of the steel, Billy? Do you? Yeah, a type of steel that's low carbon. And so this is how it comes right off of the laser, right? It's very shiny, very clean. You can see. This took about 3 to 4 hours as opposed to 30 minutes for the smaller one. I've got some of this on order. I'm going to bring it in and cut it up into about this size and put it in the laser store so people can make their own on our fiber laser. It's probably too long. They take too long to do a class, but we can walk people through getting set up on those things. So, yes.
Did you use it to burn an image on, or like you would heat it up and then burn it, or just a physical stamp?
You could, so that wood, I just took a hammer and just hammered it right into the wood. So wood and leather, you could just hammer it right into the wood. If you wanted to stamp it into metal, you would probably need a different type of steel that you could harden, but it should work with that too. But you could also heat it up and do like a burning brand. Yeah, you could do that. So I'm hoping to get some of this into the laser store, see what people make. I hope people share what they make with it. So, yeah. Is any questions? Yes.
You're gonna use, send out some envelopes and wax?
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Yeah. So, yep. Any other questions? All right, thanks.
Thank you, John Dale. That's all of the shows and shares we have for tonight, but we do have some important announcements regarding the electrical work in the shop. It was supposed to start today. It's been postponed. Hopefully we will get started Thursday. I'll keep you updated on Mattermost as to what's going on. That's usually during the day, so hopefully it won't interrupt you too bad. There won't be any work on the weekends, because I know that's a popular time for a lot of people to be here, but nevertheless, I'll keep you updated on that. Don't forget, we have a Makers Market coming up on May 5th. So we'll need lots of people to help make that happen. We're getting pretty good at it, but let's don't get lax. And yeah, I got that info.
Applications are open this week, put it on Mattermost.
Yeah, applications for members will open this week, so keep an eye on Mattermost. That's been a big question over the last week or so. When can I get my spot? Well, watch Mattermost, and we will let you know. Members get first shot before it goes public to other makers in the community. We have plenty of capsules for the mystery machine. If you want to make some small things that will fit in a capsule that's like, whoa, that big. You can see the machine right out here. We've seen little things from the blacksmithing area, little ornaments, fishing fly, all kinds of cool stuff. So we encourage you to make a small thing to put in there, and when people come to the market, they put 50 cents in the machine, get a treat, and we raise 50 cents. Market, yeah, the market members, and don't forget the lightsaber hilt challenge is underway. So if you want to make a lightsaber hilt, get with it. And Neil has all of the particulars on that. You can watch Mattermost for that as well, right? Righto. So, what did I forget? Oh, there might be some events after show and share tonight. That's right. For those of you that don't know, a requirement for membership is that you attend a new member's onboarding. Anybody can do that, whether you're a member, prospective member, whatever. But in order to be a full-fledged member, you do have to attend one of these. And it just so happens, after show and share tonight, there will be a new members onboarding. So if you are interested in membership, I encourage you to attend that, and you'll have that checked off. We don't have a lot of requirements for membership. Well, you can't be a jerk, but other than that, the new members onboarding is kind of it. Well, $50. So there you have it. Anything? Thank you, Isaac. I'm going to make it through MC in this thing one of these days and get everything without forgetting something. I may be 90 years old, but I'm going to do it. All right. And Sue has something.
Could there be filters in shop?
Filters. Yeah, we need to check filters in the wood shop. Any woodworkers in here? No? Surely there's a woodworker in here. Yeah, we need a volunteer coordinator to find some, okay. All right, thank you, Wes, you the man. Check out the wood shop filters, and we'll check these in arts and crafts here and see if they need changing. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. All right. Okay, if I've forgotten anything else, that's just the way it is. So, let's go to the shop, have fun, make some stuff, and thank you so much for being here tonight.